The reason she's doing it is just for pleasure. There's no emotional connection. There's no attachment. That's why, she's not looking at you like that. She might be moaning. She might be creaming all over you, but she's not going to be looking at you in the eyes. She's going to try to avoid all that. She's going to try to avoid that emotional attachment and emotional connection. You could tell when you look these women in the eyes, they're dead in their eyes, guys. These modern day women have become men.
I don't like feeling.
What's up, guys? In today's video, we're talking about 5 myths men still believe about women. By the end of this video, this will shed some light on some misunderstandings that you probably have, or you can share this with a friend that maybe doesn't know. You can put them up on some game when it comes to the modern day woman and the myths that we as a society have created when it comes to protecting the image of our sweet angels. All right. So with no further ado, this is in no order of importance or significance. I'm just going to list off the 5 myths right now that stuck out to me the most in no particular order. Starting with number 1, which is the myth that women are more sexually conservative than men. Now, this is one of the biggest misconceptions that I have, and the biggest myth that, is constantly talked about and preached in society. And, rightfully so. A lot of times, because of the way society's been built, we needed to keep our women with a certain image and look to themselves of the traditional woman that's conservative. She dresses very moderately and she's all sweet. You think she's knitting at home. You think she's talking to her grandma on the phone on the weekends. You think she's going to church on Sundays. But little do you know, she was taking bath shots on Saturday night. The reason for this is because society shames women for expressing any bit of sexuality whatsoever. So a lot of times they have all these repressed feelings and urges that they got to hide from the public eye. And then, when she's by herself, when this woman's alone, when she's in the company of her friends, the majority of their conversations, guys, is about sex. It's about men. It's about penis. It's about the crazy experiences. So don't let women fool you into thinking that they're more sexually conservative than you are. They're just not being sexually open to you, most likely, if you don't know this already. Number 2. The second myth that we have on the list is the longer you wait to have sex with her, the higher your chances will be. Guys, you never want to play the waiting game with women. You never want to play this game because she will keep you waiting and validating until she's done in the streets, basically. And she will just use you as an emotional tampon, soak up all your energy, all your time, and all your attention until she's done with you, and then she'll move on to the next guy, and to the next guy, and to the next guy, until he grows a pair of balls and leaves her as well. And this cycle just continues where, you think that if I play the friendly, nice guy role with this woman, I'm going to wait it out, and she's going to see me for who I am. And as a friend, I can eventually ease my way into the situation and eventually make something happen with this woman, because she'll see that I actually care about her and I just don't want to sleep with her. She already knows you want to sleep with her. Who are you fooling? All right? The minute you become friends with a woman, there's no such thing as men and women being friends, all right? Without one being sexually attracted to the other. I don't care what you guys say. That's just facts. And don't let a woman try to fool you and say she likes guy friends and talking to different guys because she relates to them better and the guys are funnier and she doesn't get along with girls. That's a sign of a hoe right there. You need to be careful. But don't play the waiting game with these women, guys. A lot of times also, when you wait like this, if you are, let's say, a more attractive looking guy, she might just think you're not into her and she might lose interest as well. So I just wanted to point that out as well. That's why I tell you guys, you need to figure out if she likes you off rip and get sexual with her quickly. Because if you don't, she could just string you along. That's why I tell you to immediately go for the kill. Immediately figure out what her interest level is. And based on that, based on how she is receptive or not receptive to what your advances are, then you could decide to pull back your attention, or you could decide to pursue that situation until you're done with her. The third myth on the list that I wrote down for you guys is the myth that women are more attracted to masculine or buff men. All right? This is not true. All right. Now, yes, there are some women that are attracted to buff men aesthetically, and they view them almost as sort of a fantasy type of, dark fantasy type of guy, where he picks them up, he's dominating her, he's that alpha male that comes in and swoops her off her feet and just gives her crazy loving all night long. But there comes a point, and those of you that have been in the red pill community for a while now, where if you get too masculine, you get too quote unquote alpha, all right, where you show that you have no conversation skills, you're just a big buff dude just sitting there at the end of the table, with no conversation skills or whatever, but you swole, you look alpha as hell, and you buff, you got all the gains on you, but you got nothing coming out of your mouth that's making her feel some type of way, she's not feeling you at all, chances are you're not going to be with that. You're not going to keep that woman around in your rotation. That's just not going to happen. So even though a lot of times in this community we talk about, get alpha, get swole, get big, and that's what really attracts women. It's like you see these alpha big dudes out here, and not all of them are getting the play that they want. Yeah, women might be gawking at them and looking at them, checking them out, fantasizing about them. But at the same time, it's these guys that have more of a feminine mindset. And when I mean feminine mindset, they just know how to make a woman feel comfortable to open up to him. And they're able to process what she's saying and use it in a way to get what they want out of that situation with a woman. And that takes a lot of practice, and women can pick up on this, and this lets them know that you've interacted with a ton of different women and you've been successful enough to have that one-on-one conversation with other women to keep them around. The majority of overly masculine men that walk around like brutes like this, that are super villain alpha type of guys, that eat like raw ribs and they just look like a Viking. Those type of guys are not going to mentally stimulate a woman enough to be able to keep her mind constantly in a limbo and give her that emotional roller coaster that she needs in her life and keep her mentally stimulated, unlike the guy that has more of a feminine mindset that's able to sweet talk her, able to get what he wants out of a situation. All right? So that's a huge myth, especially in this community, that just get big, bro, and that'll solve all your problems. Not the case. Now, I know there's a buff dude on the other side that took that way too far and he's in his feelings right now, but I'm not saying you shouldn't work out. I'm just saying that the over masculine, type of alpha male guy that's all buff and swole and carries most of his confidence in his looks, that dude is not going to 9 times out of 10 have the strongest mouthpiece and the ability to talk to women and mentally stimulate them to get what he wants out of a situation. Number 4 on the list, the fourth myth, is women are naturally nurturing. I know this is going to blow a lot of your minds, but women are not just born nurturers. Now, they have it in them as a personality trait and a default, the same way that, a husband or a man can have the ability to be a good father one day to his child. But a lot of times when it comes to these modern day women, if they weren't taught to see what it's like to be a good nurturing mother in their household, she is most likely not going to know how to be a nurturing mother when she has a child of her own. So that's a huge myth that I feel like a lot of men did not realize. But if you look back on some situations and some friends and some relationships, you'll see that sometimes, a woman has a child with a man and then she's able to just dip out of that situation and have those kids, but not be attached to those kids, not be a nurturer of those kids, because she probably never saw that when she grew up. And it's an acquired personality trait that most women need to be taught. The 5th and final myth on my list is women gain emotional attachment through sex. This is a huge misconception that so many guys out there believe till this day, even after taking the red pill. All right. You believe that you are imprinting a woman because you had sex with her, and that is simply not the case whatsoever. Now, I want you guys to listen to what I'm saying very clearly. If a woman is not emotionally attached to you when you're having sex, then you're not creating any sort of bond or attachment with her. Point blank, period. If you need to write that down 100 times on your wall at night, write it down. Just because you have sex with a woman does not mean she's emotionally attached. Women that have emotional sex with men get attached because they're already emotionally attached to that man beforehand because he fucked her mind. All right? The real OGs know this is the first way that you imprint a woman. The first and only way you should be imprinting a woman before you even go down there. All right? Why do you think that pimps are able to not be intimate with their hoes and send them out and continue to get the bread and the reciprocation and the respect from these women, even though they're not being intimate? It's because the pimp has emotionally imprinted and stimulated the woman's mind. That's why he doesn't have to have sex with that woman. He can send her out and she's still emotionally imprinted based on how he makes her feel, the good vibes that they have between each other, guys. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand. A lot of this game has to do with mouthpiece. It has to do with mentality. It has to do with understanding what the woman's saying, interpreting what she's saying, spitting it out in a way where she's able to be stimulated in order for you to get what you want out of that situation with that woman. Point blank, period. That's what you guys need to realize when it comes to dealing with these women. You need to mentally F her mind first and foremost. That is what it really comes down to. It has nothing to do with intimacy. At the end of the day, a woman could just turn off the centers of her brain if she really just wants to have a one-night stand and she's just looking for pleasure that night. You know, you look like her type, you look like her favorite actor or her favorite athlete, celebrity, whatever it may be. You know, she just wants to smash that night. She just wants to get it out real quick. It's the same way you go into the shower, you go under your sheets and you bust one out real quick. It's the same way, all right? The reason she's doing it is just for pleasure. There's no emotional connection there. There's no attachment. That's why, you know, she's not looking at you like that. She might be moaning. She might be creaming all over you. But she's not going to be looking at you in the eyes. She's going to try to avoid all that. She's going to try to avoid that emotional attachment and emotional connection. You could tell when you look these women in the eyes, they're dead in their eyes, guys. These modern day women have become men. They're extremely masculine. They're having a lot of sex out here. And these myths that I just exposed hopefully enlightens you to a lot of the lies that you might have grown up thinking about women. So I know this video was probably difficult for some of you to hear. You know, you had a lot of the myths that you were once taught as a young child to believe about women and how women should behave and how they behave. But I just want to encourage you guys to realize that while these women do what they do and they're going to have fun when they're young, trust and believe they're going to play all these games and do what they do. You know, girls just want to have fun. What you guys need to do is buckle down and focus on what you got to work on. Focus on something that, you know, no matter what happens in your life, what these women do, it doesn't shift you off of your purpose and your mission in life. So understand that women are going to come, women are going to go. But no matter what, you got to maintain that mindset of abundance and not just getting more chicks, but getting more income, getting more job opportunities, leveling up financially, leveling up your body, your health, all of these things. Because these women are leveling up their body counts and they belong to the universe.